first, a chilling cancellation attempt against an artist because they shared mainstream views about children becoming trans and changing their gender. Victoria Culf says that she was setting up an independently funded art exhibition at Watford Museum when she voiced her belief to a council worker that it's harmful to allow kids to change gender. She also criticised the controversial Tavistock clinic, which is due to be shut down, by the way, later this month. Well, Victoria then received a call from Watford Council telling her of harassment allegations against her and that she needed to give 24 hours' notice to attend her own exhibition. She was also informed the police were investigating her for a hate crime. I mean, come on. Hertfordshire Police later decided no crime had been committed, while Watford Borough Council deny that they made the report. I'm very pleased to say that Victoria joins me now. What on earth happened?
I don't really know. I don't really know. I set up an exhibition. I made it myself. I put it on myself. I was in liaison with the museum. Whilst I was installing it, I went downstairs. I made a cup of tea, and one of the council workers came in, and I didn't want to freak them out. I said, "Oh, I'm here. Don't be frightened," because it was a bit dark. And it's a sort of like tea-making facilities are backed against sort of like a wall. And I just sort of casually asked how the family was, and then I got a very big over-disclosure about sort of like a personal relative. And at first I was quite shocked, and I was sort of like, well, it's your family. I just left it like that. Shall we make a cup of tea? And then it sort of progressed into a bit of a rant about how she was so happy that I was supporting her and their ideas, and that it was really, really good to have a discussion about these things. And, you know, people needed to get their head round it. And I felt like I was being pulled on board to an ideology I couldn't ascribe to.
That's the trans idea?
Yeah, yeah. And I just said, look, I'm really sorry, but because of my faith and because of my training and life experience, I can't support that. And then she sort of tried to persuade me a little bit more why it was a great idea.
And this was all just unsolicited. You're there, sticking some art on a wall, lovely art, by the way, art on the wall, and making a cup of tea, and someone who works at the council just goes volley, volley, volley about the trans stuff. And then after you just said your views, which sound quite reasonable, what happened next?
Well, then, obviously I shared my views, and then I said, look, agree to disagree, and they nodded, and I thought, OK, it's all right. I'd made them a cup of tea. I said, where are all the tea things? And they were pointing it out for me. And then I went upstairs and I finished setting up. And the next morning I got an email saying, could I come in later because there was an event? No, before a certain time because there was an event. So I got to the museum well within the window, and I was told I wasn't allowed in, and I should have had an email telling me I couldn't come in. And I was like, well, I've still got one piece of art and another piece to put in. And the woman was like, well, you're not coming in. And this is the woman I'd obviously spoken to the day before. And I was like, well, what can I do? I need to set up. And then she did concede, and she said, look, I'll take it in for you. And I thought we were still all right. I didn't realise she was that upset about the day before's conversation. And then the following day, I had a work cancellation from another organisation that was collaborating with the museum, but had hired me to do an outreach project for them. And then it just elevated from there, where sort of I got a phone call from Watford Borough Council telling me to get a statement ready because they were
reporting you for a hate crime. And where are we with the hate crime stuff?
Well, everyone's saying different things. So now the council is saying they didn't report me for a hate crime, but I've got evidence that says they did. And then the police are saying that they didn't think it was a hate crime, which meant they investigated it. So then something was activated. I did a subject access request because I was trying to find out what was going on. And at first they were like, we don't have anything. And then they were like, no, we've got something. And it was just all these emails about my exhibition where I was liaising with another member of staff, but no internal dialogue about what the activation process was in banning me, and basically the later phone call about asking me to give 24 hours notice, and or why I got sacked from this other organisation.
Just very, very quickly on this now.
Yeah.
Was your artwork damaged as well?
Yeah. So the piece I handed over was actually hung. It looked like it had been dropped, and it was in one piece when I gave it.
Slightly suspicious.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming on and sharing your story, and good luck to you, obviously. I mean, this is bonkers, by the way, and I think anyone with, a brain can see that. So thank you very much for doing what you've done. That was, of course, Victoria Culf.